I just echo everything that Secretary Husted said out in Ohio, who was a Republican, who was a supporter, I believe, of Donald Trump. Just to say that the elections are definitely not rigged, and not only that, but it's virtually impossible to have any type of mass voter fraud here in the United States because of the decentralized nature of our elections, and that is by design. We have so many checks in place. We have safeguards and security measures in place that it just doesn't happen. Now, that's not to say, as you pointed out, that there aren't individual cases of voter fraud, and we have seen those, and we're very aggressive against those. But to make this type of accusation undermines the very foundational bedrock of our democratic republic, and it's scary. And look, he's been saying stuff like this for a long time. If you go back and look at his tweet storm the night that Romney lost 4 years ago, we saw very similar rhetoric. The difference is nobody cared or paid attention to him then.
Yeah.
And that's changed.
This is so concerning to me. I was reading an article, and they talked about, and several people who really look into political science said this kind of rhetoric can be corrosive to our very republic and our democracy. And you look, they gave some examples, and it said, meanwhile, the rhetoric from Trump supporters is growing apocalyptic based on many of these things that Mr. Trump is saying. Back in Milwaukee, there's Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, prominent Trump surrogate on law and order issues, who is calling in a recent tweet for, quote, pitchforks and torches. Then there's this one. A Trump backer who told the Boston Globe at a rally in Ohio, we're going to have a revolution and take them out of office if that's what it takes, if Clinton wins. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed, but that's what it's going to take. Then last week, 2 armed Virginia men supporting Donald Trump stood for hours outside of a Democratic campaign office to protest Clinton. The action was technically legal, but person after person after person has said, man, that was a little intimidating to come into the office today. You wonder, with this kind of heated, blowhard, bullying rhetoric, where this could lead us. And if Mr. Trump does lose, what will be the reaction of his core, hardcore, true blue supporters?
Well, and those are the types of things we're very worried about. And one of the things that makes the United States so unique is this peaceful transition of power that happens every 4 years. I mean, that was the grand experiment. Could we, the people, actually pull this off? 240 years ago, and here we are, and still going strong. And I truly believe that people will stand up, and that goodness will prevail, as it has for so long, and that we'll be able to overcome this type of dangerous rhetoric. I mean, this is what happens when you talk about those who have failed before as losers and been super critical, and then you find yourself losing. You tend to lash out in this sort of unfortunate way. But I really believe in what you're doing, Doug, in getting the word out to let people know that yes, the elections here in the state of Utah and across the country really are secure, and that people's votes do count, and that voting matters, and that we will accept whatever happens in a peaceful way. This is the kind of positive message we need to get out, and I truly appreciate you taking the laboring oar in getting correct information out.
But I'm so concerned about this election. I'm concerned about its tone. I'm concerned about its lasting effects, regardless of who wins. Even in a loss for Mr. Trump, I have concerns on where this may go. They're already talking about the fact that he might be forming a Trump network, and how will his supporters react if he does lose? Whatever Mr. Trump wants to do, as long as it's lawful and legal after the election. If he is not elected president of the United States, I really don't care. But it's this aftermath, the undermining of certain principles and the corrosive effect. And then if he becomes president, I really wonder what the tone and tenor of that presidency would be like. And when you look at even his surrogates, Representative Steve King, Republican of Iowa, who said the suggestion of a grand conspiracy to keep Trump out of the White House is overblown. And then he said to the moderator of the program he was on, I don't want to say anything on this program that delegitimizes the elections because I don't want the American people to lose faith in our process. If we do, this entire constitutional republic could come tumbling down. That's what Mr. Trump's messing around with for his own purposes, and that makes me angry, and it frightens me.
Well, and you're not alone, and I echo those sentiments completely, and we really do need to stand up, and elected officials everywhere, I think, have a duty to stand up against that sort of rhetoric. There's been lots of terrible things that have been said and done by Mr. Trump and his campaign, but this one, again, tears at the very fabric of these institutions, and that's why this is different, I think, than any even the other terrible things that you've reported on almost daily. And we have to stand up, and we have to let people know that it's just not true. It's wrong, and it's dangerous.
And it bothers me too, because I know you. I know some of the other people around the country. I look at the good, decent men and women who are in positions of responsibility as county clerks who oversee the elections in the counties, as secretaries of state and lieutenant governors who oversee the integrity of the elections in their states, and to somehow imply and leave that corrosive impression that this could be happening in our country, again, just makes me angry. And Lieutenant Governor, I really appreciate your time here at KSL, and we'll be calling often, I'm sure, as more and more of these bizarre accusations come out, and I appreciate you're always willing to take our call.
Thanks, Doug.
Our Lieutenant Governor, Spencer Cox, here in the state of Utah, and we called Lieutenant Governor Cox because he is responsible. This is one of the major duties, if not the major duty, of the Lieutenant Governor in the state of Utah, and that is to coordinate and make sure that our elections are legitimate.
The election is being rigged, and I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged. I have to be honest. Remember, we're competing in a rigged election. This is a rigged election, folks.
And remember, even Mr. Trump's surrogates are basically calling foul on this one.
I'm convinced that the election will be a fair one and that the process will be one that will be accepted by the American people.
That's surrogate Chris Christie. And boy, there are legions of others who, for Mr. Trump, this has gone too far.
From Doug's analysis, we jump into Utah's new news and then the all-new JMAC News Show at 12:30 on KSL News Radio.